Hey,
Hey,
we're live,
everyone, and welcome to yet another Claret and Booze Up show. Thank you all for joining us, and I hope that everyone is well and, more importantly, sort of Omicron variant free. We're going to be reviewing the midweek Europa League game against Dynamo Zagreb, which we narrowly lost, but it was great, wasn't it, to see some of our fantastic youth players, enjoy what was probably the best night of their lives, to be quite honest. Gary's going to be doing the Claret and Booze news. John will be mocking the footballing week before we look ahead to the Premier League game this Sunday away at Turf Moor against Burnley. This week, myself, Gary and John are joined by a very special guest indeed. I'm going to hand over to John to introduce our guest. So, John, take it away.
Yes. So, as you may be aware, we've tweeted about it over the last couple of days and that. Welcome to David Schaal. Now, a bit of a backstory. I've been seeing David on and off at West Ham for a while now, but I've been too nervous to approach him and get a selfie. Sorry, Dave, because I'm a bit of an in-betweeners nut. So when we started this channel, in the back of my mind, I thought, let's get some good people on, like who's, and I just saw Dave and I thought, I'm gonna approach him. However, I didn't approach him. I sent him messages on social media. So I still haven't shook the man's hand, and I'd just like to say to you, Dave, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight, mate.
My pleasure, mate. My pleasure. You shouldn't be nervous. I get approached every bloody game.
Yeah, I know, but you're in your own zone watching the Mighty Hammers,
What's funny is that the young kids, they just come up, they hand the camera to somebody sitting in front of me and go, "Can you take a picture?" Then they stand there like that and cheers, mate, and off they go, like it was nothing.
So really?
Yeah. Like they're entitled to it. You know what I mean? It's hilarious.
Yeah. I'm a bit more shy, I suppose. As Nick mentioned earlier, I used to get knocked back a lot when we was younger, so maybe
and
that's absolute nonsense, as you can see now. So yeah, Dave. So I don't know much about you apart from the obvious. Obviously, most people will know you from The Office, where you played Taffy and Jay's dad in the Inbetweeners and EastEnders you was in. You've always played quite arrogant characters. What are you like in real life?
Well, I'll let you decide. Well, I don't know. It's really funny, isn't it? Because those characters that I play are sort of really quite horrible, insulting, arseholes, really. And I'm most people think I'm easy to get on with, and the exact opposite. So the only thing that I can put it down to is I've got one of those sort of inbred faces, every time when I used to appear on the bill, my mate Simon used to send me a text and have the name of the character, like Tony Dwyer, was one of the characters I played. And then he always used to write white trash after every single character. White trash. So that's what I am, mate.
No. Tell us a brief thing about you and West Ham then. Where did it come from? Any memories you might have and things like that. How did you get into it?
Okay, well, my mum was originally from Essex and from South Ockenden in Essex. And even though my dad was American, which is a bit of a strange story because...
I saw you were born in America, weren't you?
Yeah. I was actually born in where they filmed Breaking Bad in Albuquerque.
Right. Okay.
And that's my claim to fame. And so I was born over there, and we used to flit back and forth to the States all the time because my old man was in the American Air Force. So he was forever being stationed all over the place. Anyway, in my infant's years, I went to a school, I think it was called St. Michael's or something like that, in South Ockenden, which is where all my mum's extended family lived. And of course, they were all big West Ham supporters. Yeah. And my cousin Paul Carter, his name is. If you're watching this, Paul, hello, mate. He basically gave me no choice but to be a West Ham supporter. So we'd always go outside and have a kickabout. And he'd always do a Peter Lorimer penalty, which used to hit me right in the nuts every single time. So I blame him for my current hernia that I've got. So that was it. It was in the blood. All my family on my mum's side, all big West Ham supporters. I didn't actually go to my first game until the 70s because my dad was, completely anti-sport. So I used to watch West Ham on TV all the time. Match of the day was my big thing. And then my first game was in 1973 and it was West Ham against Leicester. That was the first game that I went to see, and and on and off I've been going as much as possible since then. But my dad took us to one game, and it was Middlesbrough at home at Upton Park, freezing cold day. We lost 1-0, and that was the last time he ever took me to a West Ham game.
Put him off.
And he said, the goddamn facilities over here are terrible. So he was used to the American.
Big sports all day long.
Yeah, exactly. Comfy seats. They didn't like Upton Park.
No. Someone said earlier, actually, in the Facebook group that when we put that you was on again, someone went, "Oh yeah, he must be a West Ham fan because his son Jay from the Inbetweeners obviously played football for West Ham when he was 13, didn't he?" So, a lot of people thought you was coming on in character, you see, rather than you was actually a West Ham fan for real.
What, James Buckley played for West Ham?
Well, no, as the character.
Yeah.
I don't think James Buckley did. Yeah.
James Buckley is actually a Crystal Palace supporter.
Is he?
Right. I discovered.
He's a Nigel. He's a Nigel.
He's a Nigel. Yeah. God love him. But so it was. I was always destined to be a West Ham supporter. But then I grew up in Stevenage in Hertfordshire, where they were all Tottenham fans and Arsenal fans.
I feel your pain.
And I was a punk rocker, and a lot of the kids used to go and watch Tottenham with all the Stevenage skinheads. Yeah. So I have to admit to a couple of games having to go and watch Tottenham, but then I'd sneak out and watch West Ham as much as I could. But those were the seasons where basically Trevor Brooking was the only thing keeping us up.
Back then, you could just turn up on a Saturday and go to a game. You pay at the door, didn't you? I went to Tottenham and Arsenal myself, basically.
Yeah. I used to sneak in a lot of time.
Yeah,
it was unbelievably easy to get in. It was weird.
Yeah.
And I'd stand in the North Bank, when it was all standing, get crushed.
Now, my son can't even take a plastic bottle of water in the ground now.
Really?
They make him take. They make him take the lid off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you pay £4 for a bottle of water, and they take the lid off. Yeah.
That's just crap, isn't it?
I know.
And what do they charge for a hot dog? What's a hot dog? About £7 or something.
Probably, mate.
35 quid. The last one I bought, 35 quid.
The food is tragic over there. It is. It's not great.
It's a nightmare.
It's not great. But yeah, it's interesting you say that though, David. I mean, I don't think you'll meet many West Ham fans that chose to support West Ham at a young age. I think we all followed the same path. It is bred into us, isn't it?
Yeah, I had no choice in the matter. It was like if I wasn't going to be a West Ham supporter, I would have got my head kicked in by my cousins. It amazes me that half of Essex are actually Tottenham supporters. I don't know how that happens.
I know.
General migration.
I don't remember supporting West Ham actually being an option. It was just default setting, right?
Yeah, exactly. There was no choice in it.
No.
I mean, why would you choose to support West Ham back then? We were terrible.
I know. We've this kind of little period of success that we're relative success that we're experiencing at the moment. I mean, we've really earned this, haven't we? As West Ham fans, we have.
It's like nothing I can ever remember. I mean, I remember when we got to the Cup Winners' Cup final and lost 4-2 to Anderlecht, and Francois van der El scored a hat trick. I remember all that, and we played Den Haag and then Eintracht Frankfurt on the way to playing Anderlecht.
Did you go to the Eintracht Frankfurt game?
No, but if we play them again in the knockout round, I will.
But that game, right? That was supposed to be the best. It's before my time. I started going in 70. My first game was 76. Not far behind you, but I didn't go to any big games like that. And that was supposed to be the best atmosphere at Upton Park ever. That semi-final against Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah, I can imagine. No, sadly, I was still. What was I then? I must have been about 15 or something, and we were in America in 1977. Yeah. So that was just before we went to America, and I was probably too scared of the Stevenage skinheads to come down to West Ham then. And then I eventually came down to London on my own you know, to go to drama school in the 80s. I think 85. And then I went to West Ham all the time when I
just in time for the 86 season, then 85-86 season.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I've got to mention one thing about David, because I was looking into David's work today. We all know about the In-Betweeners and The Office and all that, but there's this classic little 10-minute short film called This Is English. And it's basically a take on enforcing correct grammar and spelling through violence.
Well, he's come on the wrong show here, isn't he?
Yeah. So be careful, mate. You get your apostrophes wrong, I'll be over there.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. There was just one scene in there where they've basically got an emergency call out to the chip shop because the chip shop made a mistake on their menu, and they put fish and chips, chip apostrophe S, and the guy hooligan behind the in front of the counter is going, "Who do the chips belong to?" Brilliant. I love stuff like that.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. And then I started coming out with some dodgy stuff, and then the lead actor goes, "No, we're not like that anymore."
Yeah.
And then I glass him. I get a glass and I go, "I ain't a fucking racist." That's a glass over his head.
Super.
Brilliant.
Thanks a lot for coming on. So we're going to go through the show and that in a minute.
Yeah.
And
Lovely. Cheers for that, David. I mean, what we do now, we've got some more comments now than what we normally have as you're on the show.
To get David on regular.
I know. Do you want to whiz through them, John? Do you want to whiz through start Michael at the top?
Hang on, let me get there. You know what I'm like with old technology, being a cab driver, dinosaur. Evening, Michael. Michael's our resident. He's our resident Father Jack impersonator.
Hey,
he
brilliant.
often comes on drunk.
Yeah.
Evening, Chat. Evening, Claire.
Hi, Claire.
Rob Singleton's just mentioned that the under-18s lost to Newcastle in the Youth Cup today. Steve Dan Potts played. Dan Potts?
Yeah.
Dan Potts played. He played last night, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pop Robson era. That was the Pop Robson era when you started going then.
That was it. Yeah, Pop Robson. That was it.
Yeah.
And I think
DJ Russie, evening, gents.
Hello, mate.
Us rewatching Sex in the City. Oh, well. You're watching us by default then, Ross, yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks for that. That's really nice. Good evening to Paul. Yeah, look, there you go. Mike remembers the fact that you just used to turn up and pound the gate. They were the days, to be honest with you. And I used to love when they did the cup draw. The next day, you'd go down and queue up for the fucking ticket.
Yeah.
I just used to love that. Why don't we do that anymore? Everyone goes, it's modern. It's modern now, but I prefer that. I'm sorry. Hey, look, Claire's basically backing up what we said. No one chooses to support West Ham. Their mum and dad met at West Ham. So did my nan and granddad. I had no choice.
And Sean Freshfielder has called out Robbie Rensenbrink, who David forgot to mention.
He was Anderlecht, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah,
he was.
Rensenbrink. He was part of that brilliant Dutch team, wasn't he?
He was,
yeah. I remember that Dutch team.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a great side, weren't they? Great side. Yeah. It's Jay's dad.
It is.
It is Jay's dad.
There you go.
Right, Nick, let's crack on.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, well, as we all know, we faced off on Thursday night against Dynamo Zagreb. It's a bit of a dead rubber game, to be quite honest. I did call the fact that we would not be playing Diop and Dawson, and I was correct. He fielded in, and I did argue that point at the weekend, and it was. I was really excited when I saw this. Don't get me wrong, didn't expect to win, but I was just excited that so many kids were getting a chance. So if you have a look here, I mean, it gives you a bit more of an idea. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it?
It's a fantastic looking lineup. That is absolutely brilliant. Apart from Kral's haircut, it's really nice.
My boy calls him Sideshow Bob all the time now. He just doesn't call him anything else.
And this was and this was the last time that you saw Yarmolenko awake in this match, apparently, on this picture.
I think it was. Yeah, it was.
So, like I say, I wasn't actually at the game. I was training my boys' football team. I have seen the highlights, but I can't speak with authority like you guys can. So, John and Gary, do you want to sort of take us through the first half and give us and the highlights and what you thought were the particular sod all the senior players? Let's talk about the kids.
Well, We did obviously discuss what we thought the lineup would be, and like you, I was over the moon that there were so many kids. I just didn't think Moyes would do it, and I'm glad he did because he showed a bit of faith in them. And I think if you look at the back four specifically, or pacifically, depends what short movie you're watching, they didn't let him down, did they? They did not let him down because that team, they was a strong, typical Eastern European team, battering rams, big, strong geezers. A lot of internationals there that we wouldn't know of, you know, not big names to us, but over there they are. And all the kids done really well. I mean, you know, I was pleasantly surprised. I've heard about a lot of the kids through, you know, our mate Stell and other channels talking about him and yourselves. But I hadn't seen much of them, apart from what you see on YouTube and Twitter and whatnot. But, I mean, I was so impressed with them. The back four, and you can argue till the cows come home, yes, it's not the Premier League and all that stuff. But to them, that is the biggest stage they've ever played on, 100%. Playing against some of the best players they'll ever play against, in front of an audience that probably supersedes what they've played in front by 50,000. You know, so all of those things could have added to a very daunting challenge for them. But I thought they all stepped up, you know, the defense all stepped up. And it's going to sound really bad now, but, you know, it brought a little bit of a tear to my eye. It makes you proud. I know it sounds really dramatic, but when you see them putting so much effort in, you know, they're not on good money yet, are they? You know, and hopefully one day they'll earn their money. But, you know, but the game... It was, you know, in parts it wasn't great, but the game, it was more than the result. It was the youth players there, the pride that it gave you, you know. And I know it sounds dramatic, but you know, I don't know what you think, Gal. You know, but
I absolutely loved it. I mean, look, like you said, it wasn't a very exciting game. It was played with a tempo of a friendly. Some people on Twitter today were saying, "Oh, it's a meaningless game." No, it wasn't meaningless.
Not so them.
I mean, because you know, the other side, they had to get a draw. Zagreb had to get a draw out of that to assure their qualification, right? And you could see in the second half with the time wasting and everything else that they really took it seriously. This was not us playing against a bunch of mugs. This was against a decent level Europa League team who were in the last 24.
That is the smallest player that I've ever seen. I've got to say,
he was tiny,
very small player. But when you look at I'll just pick
that sort of thing was brilliant, you know.
Yeah, I picked. It was wonderful seeing that on BT Sport afterwards, of all them going over to their families and everything else, and having photos taken. Brilliant. But when you look at, let's focus on the players individually. So you had Harrison Ashby at right back, you had Jamal Baptiste and Lacey in the middle, and then you had Longello over on the left hand side. Now, from those players, you know, I think the right back Ashby and Baptiste made a bit of a shaky start. Baptiste dived in a few times. He didn't look very assured, and Lacey was definitely coming across to cover him a lot. And Lacey is the under-23 captain, so that's kind of his role. He's a bit of a leader. He led the back four. Longello from the start was brilliant. He was pushing forward. He was fearless in attack. He was very, very solid defensively, but he didn't let that stop him getting forward. He was getting forward to support the front players whenever he could. And from about the 20-minute mark, so did Ashby. Ashby was then getting forward. And
he was a bit slower when he coming forward, I thought. Yeah,
it was a bit of a, but then you can allow him a nervy start. It's like a driving test, a nervy start. You know, 5-10 minutes to get warmed up, and I think that's what it took for some of them to get going. I think sadly, Perkins was he got no support. I mean, Vlasic on one side did very little other than provide some work rate. Yarmolenko on the other side, as Nick's already said, didn't want to be there. He didn't want to be playing, didn't want to be on the pitch, right? 4 nails and a mare in the first half as well. So poor Perkins, 17, with 2 great big centre halves around him, he didn't have a chance to, you know, barely even touch the ball, you know. So
what you're saying is the standout players were the kids.
I think, well, I think so, yeah, by a mile.
Yeah,
I'd say when you look at it, we wasn't going to talk about the senior players, but Nick's put us on to them straight away. What I would say is not Noble. We know Noble's done and all that, right? But certain players are coming in and it's their shop window.
Slow ball, John. Slow ball.
Don't start me about that off some geezer in my ear hole the other day. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, you know, I thought Crowell did good defensively. He broke up a lot. He stopped a lot. He's not going to be the most aesthetically pleasing of players, right? He's not going to be Lanzini. You got to expect that. He was giving the ball away a little bit with his forward passing, but defensively he was very Souček-esque. You know, he did a lot of breaking up, a lot of stops, a lot of fouls. You know, but that's part of football. You give away a good foul sometimes. Vlasic worked very hard, unfortunately with no end product, but he was better than I've seen, if I'm honest, without being absolutely amazing. But yeah, I mean, Yarmolenko, he's already thinking about Genoa without a doubt. And I said this is why you can't rely on him, because he ain't going to come and throw his all into a game in case he gets injured and misses that move to play for Shevchenko.
You've just reminded us now. I'm going to pass to you in a second, David, because you had a problem getting there and you ended up watching from your sofa. But I just want to pick up on one thing that John just said, and that is Yarmolenko is waiting for his move to Genoa. He's going to go to Genoa. He's going to score hatfuls of goals. And then in 6 months' time, Nick's going to be saying, fucking hell, why did we let him go? Why couldn't Moyes use him properly?
I'm just posting YouTube reels. Reels, I will.
I'm calling it now. So, David, what did you think?
Well, I think that's very astute, because I've been saying that about Sebastian Haller. I mean, look at what he's doing at Ajax.
Dave hasn't watched these shows, has he?
That's Nick's That's Nick's
Don't get me started, Dave. Don't get me started.
Yeah, because I never wanted him to go after he scored that overhead
Thank
kick.
you very much.
I thought, he's got potential, but he's not mobile enough. And the thing is, Yarmolenko's got one trick. He runs down the right, then he cuts in on his left foot. He got found out, like after about 10 games, didn't he? So he can't pull that one trick anymore. He still tried it a little bit last night, and that was it. But the person who impressed me the most was Longello. I think on TV they said he had 87 touches.
So is he an attacking fullback, David? Does he really bomb forward?
He was getting forward, especially in the second half. I thought the first half, when that goal went in, I thought we're going to get hammered. You know, with kids in the back four, and then a really skinny kid up front getting bullied by the two centre halves. I thought we've got no chance at all. So for me, they did really well to keep it a 1-0. You know, to go 1-0 down, what was it, 3 minutes or something? It was really early on in the game. And that geezer's got form, isn't he? What's his name? Orsic,
yeah.
Yeah. Didn't he score a hat-trick against Tottenham or something?
Yep, he did. Yeah.
So, that's a quality player. And in fact, that wasn't the kid's fault. It was Yarmolenko didn't shut him down. Yeah. So Yarmolenko stood off him and he stands there, and it was a bit similar to Masuako's goal, wasn't it? But a bit more cultured. He actually meant it. But so Yarmolenko stood off him, and then Fornals went to make a last-ditch tackle, but it was too late. The shot had already come in. So the kids were not to blame for that goal.
Nah, not at all.
Did it go straight in, or did it deflect off Fornals?
I think it deflected. I think there was a deflection.
From what I saw, it looked like a deflected goal. I mean, but it was whatever happens. That was a good goal, and those type of things you can't really do anything about. Like you say, I don't think it was down to a defensive error in our defence. No, I don't think they did anything wrong.
Well, can you imagine your first game like that? You go a goal down that early on. They could have completely fallen apart, and they did. They just showed complete composure all the way through the game, and they had 50,000 supporters there last night.
That is a really good point.
Dynamo Zagreb had 50,000 supporters.
So they had about 7, didn't they? They had about 7.
They had about 10, didn't they? From what I said, they were giving it large after the goal.
That's a really good point, because they could have collapsed. They could have collapsed after 4 minutes. They could have just completely lost the bottle, and they didn't. Did they? So I hadn't thought of it like that. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, but these boys are flying high in the under 23s in the Premier League too, aren't they? You know, they're top of the table, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah, and whenever you see young players like that, I always think, who is going to make the grade? And that Perkins has recently been converted from a midfielder to a forward. Yeah, so he looks to me like he's got a bit of a way to go. But that Longello, I thought, could step in now. I think he's that good. I don't know what you guys thought about the two centre halves. I think maybe they're a bit lightweight at the moment, aren't they?
What I saw was Baptiste, who's supposed to be the star, and he's like 18 years old, so he's up and coming. He's not ready yet physically. Lacey is ready physically. He's a big lump, and he was organising defence, and he was actually helping out Longello and Baptiste quite a lot. So, unfortunately, Lacey, in doing that and getting dragged out of position, he got a little bit of stick, as in, people didn't rate his performance that much. I saw it slightly differently. I saw him as the mature centre half amongst, organising all the kids around him. He leads that team in the under-23s. So he's actually played a first-team game before as well, Lacey, and I'd like to see. And he's a left-footed centre half as well. But I agree with what you've all said. Longelo was outstanding.
Brilliant.
And he's ready. He's ready. I wouldn't mind seeing him play at Burnley on Sunday.
Yeah. Did you see that comment from Russ, Gary?
Yeah.
What's that?
Talking to a lot of the ex-players last night, they were all buzzing pre-match to see so many kids in the team, particularly as most of them came through the academy. Russ Budden, David, I'm not sure if you're aware, he's the DJ over at London Stadium.
Oh wow, no, I didn't know that.
And he was at Upton Park. He's been doing that job for years now, hasn't he? He was he used to do the Mr. Moon thing as well.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
He's got a great contact book, Russ, hasn't he? He's got all the players.
He has. Yeah. And just before we go on any further, everyone, West Ham Network, they are 30 away from 10,000 followers. So anyone that's watching this show, we're going over there later on. We're going on a late with Stel. Jump over there and subscribe and get them to that 10K mark, please.
Nick, how many are we away from 10,000? Nick, we nearly there as well.
We're about 9,500 away.
Why is David laughing? He's just turned up and he's laughing.
Because I had a career before I came on this show. You've single-handedly killed my career.
I'm so sorry, Dave. I'm so sorry. It's what meant to happen.
Oh dear. No, yeah. I think the funny thing was when that goal went in, there were people in the stands who they wasn't regular people around me. They've just turned up for the cup game, but they were like, "Oh, come on, boys, sort it fucking out." And I'm like, do you even know what's going on here? Do you even know this game is nothing? And they probably didn't even know half of them was, But Longelo, to me, how old is he, Gal?
He's 20 going on 21. He's 21.
Right, so he's a good age. Physically, he's there, I think, like you said. Yeah. And he was up and down. He's so athletic. Yeah. He ain't going to be bad having him on the bench at Burnley. And just if we need him, he's there. I don't think Moyes will throw him in. But if he did, I wouldn't be worried, if I'm honest. But
I think some of our fans have just got Tourette's. That's all there is to it. They have to fucking find everything. So it happens. When that goal went in, I turned around to my cousin Paul and it's just like, oh, well, that was a good goal, wasn't it? Can't really
trust Chris to bring us all down. Look, have a look. I just hope we're not falling into the trap of overestimating the academy players because let's also be honest, Zagreb weren't exactly tough competition. No, Chris, that's my job to be negative, mate.
He's right.
But before this competition kicked off, Zagreb were meant to be the power team.
They were
in that group, and it's just that we brushed them aside over there. So they're no mugs. Didn't they beat Tottenham last season as well?
They did. I think what's probably more accurate from this point is that we don't all of a sudden, because they've played good games, we don't have too much pressure on them, too much expectation.
Not at all.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to be wary of.
Well, we're only saying really that Longelo's ready, aren't we? We're not.
Oh yeah. Well, it's whether or not they're needed. I mean, Moyes won't throw them in unless they are absolutely required. They won't, and if they're required, they're going to get a chance, and then it's up to them to try and grasp it, isn't it?
Well, they might be required because Johnson's injured, isn't he? Cresswell's injured.
And Cresswell's not back yet.
So we're down to Dawson, Diop, Fredericks maybe, and who else? So he might get a game.
That's it, really. Sort of first team defensively. That's it.
Yeah.
Would you agree with Ken Hammers there about Yarmolenko letting Ashby down?
Definitely. I'll tell you, there was a time in the second half where Yarmolenko he was up front and he turned around, the ball went back and he had to go back and cover for Ashby. And you should have seen the look on his face. He was so pissed off that he had to turn around and run back
cover.
Again.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If he's not going to run, he can bugger off to Genoa tomorrow.
Totally agree.
I think for him, I think like you said, David, we've all alluded to it.
Claire's right.
He's a one-trick pony, Yarmolenko, unfortunately. He is. Yeah. And it's a good trick, but once people know what he's doing,
I think, Nick, here you've got an opportunity, Nick, to write off a player who won't come back and bite you on the arse.
I'm not going to write Yarmolenko off.
He's the one player that's not going to prove you wrong, Nick. I'm telling you that much.
I think he'll do well for Shevchenko at Genoa.
Yeah, but he'll do well in Italy because it's a slow-paced league, isn't it? So he'll do well. He will score goals, you know.
But just remember what he did for Ukraine in the summer.
Yeah.
You know,
well, he's David,
you're extremely good for the live chat. I've never seen it this lively. I'm just trying to.
Well, that's good, mate. I'm pleased.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. There's two comments I want to show, right? And they're both related. Mr. Moon is in the stadium, which I love. Obviously, we've covered that already from Claire. And then this, Mr. Moon, if Russ knows, Mr. Moon was a fire alarm. Someone's a cigarette in the toilet usually.
It's normally Mr. Sands, isn't it?
Grass.
Some inside knowledge there from Russ.
I never knew that.
Let's just whiz Freddie's last few comments. So, closing thoughts on the game, John.
Overall, it was quite a dull game to watch, but the result meant nothing. It was good just to see the kids, and it was good for the young fans to see young players because it keeps them entertained, it keeps them interested, and kids that might aspire to be football players, which is a lot in society, as we know, that might give them a little bit of a sense of a link from playing football as a kid to getting into the first team. So it's always beneficial. Like Chris has alluded to, we don't want to go too quickly into their world beaters. Of course we don't, but one or two of them, they're definitely good enough to be on the bench and in backup for us. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Gal?
Gary, go on, your thoughts?
No, I thought it was brilliant. Moyes did everything bang on last night. He couldn't have done it any better. I was proud of the way he put that team out last night. It takes guts to do something like that, real guts. He didn't do what Allardyce did and put 11 kids out and see him get mullered. He got the balance absolutely bang on, like he's got a habit of doing. So, very happy.
Yeah. And David?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think 1-0 was a very respectable scoreline. I think it would have been 0-0 if Yarmolenko had done his job properly.
Yeah.
So, you can't ask for more than that. Those kids acquitted themselves well. There's a couple of possibilities there for the future. So I was well impressed, I have to say.
Yeah, no, me too. Same for me. I mean, like I said, I've only seen the highlights. I was keeping an eye on it on the phone, but when you looked at that, I was expecting. To be honest, I was expecting a bit of a heavier defeat when I saw. I was still happy with it because I wanted those kids to get played. But I was amazed, really. I think there's no shame in that 1-0 defeat at all, and they're not a bad team, Dynamo Zagreb. They're not. I mean, we're better. We play a full strength team, but. They as you say, they've got some bloody good players. So no, I think they should be proud of themselves. And yeah, it was a job well done. I think it didn't mean anything.
No, if you look in the comments, Narky has agreed with David somewhat about obviously Perkins needs to bulk up. He does. Yeah. He's 17-year-old. He looks a little bit.
Kid, isn't
he? The phrase you would use would be scrawny. You know what I mean? I'm sure he isn't up front. I'm sure up close he isn't. But he hasn't physically grown to his full potential yet. So, of course, it will take time for him to develop.
That's it. Did anyone else hear Yarmolenko get booed off?
A little bit, around me, there was a few people booing. I mean, I won't boo anyone, no matter what I feel about them. It's people's choice, of course. But, I did hear a few boos and a few sort of sarcastic cheers,
Yeah. Michael Brennan says, where has this Genoa link come from? The Daily Mail.
I've been hearing it for a while.
Shevchenko.
He's going to go. He's going to go.
Shevchenko manages Genoa, and he wants Ukraine's best player.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's a good question. Right, if you could pick a team for the last 16.
We're going to cover that in a minute.
Go there. We're going to come to that.
Yeah.
We're going to go to it. All right. Okay. Fair enough.
We're going to cover that one in a minute with Dave.
Right. Yeah. Okay. No problem. Right. So, Gary, should we move on to the Claret and Booze?
Yeah. Go on.
Okay. I'll play you a little video. Here you go. You ready?
Go on.
This is brilliant acting, Dave.
And now, for our Claret and Booze news. Well, Hammer's news, not the rest of the shit that we don't care about. Being delivered expertly and succinctly, that's easy for you to say, by our very own Gary.
I tell you what, I get moved every time I hear that. It's fantastic. Welcome to Claret and Booze News. 3 big stories tonight. We'll start by talking about the runners and riders in the Europa League last 24. And then we'll talk about the defensive crisis with our first team defenders. Finally, let's celebrate our official Santa, David Moyes, and recount some of his latest achievements. And this is like a regular series. It just comes back every few shows. But on to story number 1. Sorry, I'm lost. There we go. This week we learned who will compete in the final in the round of 24, the playoff stage of the Europa League. Some real giants have dropped into Europa, including the mighty Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund, Porto, and Sevilla, all joined by the even mightier West Ham. For a full look at how the playoffs will work, the second place Europa League teams are in the middle column, so they're the ones that finished second in the Europa League. And they'll be drawn to play a 2-legged playoff against the third place Champions League teams who are on the right-hand side. From this alone, you can see a number of big names will have a good chance of being eliminated in that round of 24. But the winners of those playoffs will be drawn to play against the Europa Group winners, and West Ham are one of those. They're the teams on the left, the beautiful teams on the left. This is where the big stuff starts. We could have very big games from this point in the competition, and I, for one, I'm kind of salivating a little bit at the thought of playing Barcelona or Dortmund or, bless them, Rangers. The reason I say that, by the way, is because Rangers fans were giving it a load of stick on TalkSport last night.
Yeah, I heard.
And writing West Ham off. So the question is very simple, and this one goes to you, David. Given their form in the competition so far, do you think the Champions League teams will just waltz through the Europa League teams? And now we know who's qualified. Who do you really want us to play against?
Well, I did actually want us to play Eintracht Frankfurt, but we can't because they're one of the group winners. And that's only because we played them on the way to the final in 1976.
Yeah.
But I'm with everybody else. I want Barcelona because they're the worst Barcelona team that's probably ever been. And I actually think we've got a really good chance of beating them. And can you imagine going to the new camp?
Be amazing. Be amazing.
I mean, incredible. Wouldn't that be an outing for us all?
It would,
and all us long-suffering West Ham supporters, I think we deserve it. I don't really want to play Dortmund. I don't want to play Sevilla. I don't even really want to play Atalanta because they're, I think, third.
They're a tough team now.
Yeah. And so Barcelona for me, and that Sheriff looked like a bit of a dodgy team as well, don't they?
Yeah, they've pulled off some big results in their short time in Europe. They have, Sheriff, to be fair.
Yeah.
They've only been in Europe regular for the last few years, and they've caused some shocks. You know, I think are they Romanian or something?
Yeah,
couldn't tell you.
But they've only been in Europe for a few years, so they've caused some big shocks. You wouldn't want to play them because going out to someone like that would be a bit of a damp squid, wouldn't it? If you know what I mean, not a massive name in Europe and that.
But let's not forget, we've just beat Chelsea and Liverpool, though, in recent weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I'm backing us to beat Barcelona.
Yeah,
I don't particularly want to play Leipzig. I think the German teams are strong.
So
Sevilla won this competition 3 years running, didn't they?
Gary.
Yeah, they did.
Gary, sorry to interject. So when the last 24 and the other 24, when they play off and there's a winner, are all the balls put in one hat, or are they separate? So they will play. You know what I mean?
I think basically the winners of the Europa of the groups, so all the teams on the left-hand side, they're seeded going into the draw for the last 16. And then so basically the winners of the playoffs, so all these teams on the middle and right-hand side, the winners of the playoffs will be unseeded.
So it'll be a seed against an unseed.
Yeah, so they'll be drawn out. The ones on the right will be drawn out the hat. That's what I understand it. Okay. So they're not going to have two group winners playing together. Put it like that.
To be honest with you, when you look at both those columns, the middle and the right, there's, they're all good teams, aren't they? There's no mugs there. Obviously, they wouldn't be in Europe anyway. But for me, I don't think I'd want to be playing. Why not dream? Because if we're in the last 16, then technically you're 6 games away from the final, which sounds a lot, but it isn't.
Look, that's about Sheriff there from Freshfielder from Schaal. Sheriff haven't even got a country.
Really?
Yeah, pronounce that.
Transnistria.
It's Romania. I'm sure it's Romania, isn't it? I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like Transylvania, doesn't it? So,
yeah,
maybe. Partial to an assassination. Yeah, we're not going there then. We won't go there then. If we do, we'll send David in first.
Yeah. I'll go in with the inbetweeners car. How's that?
Yeah.
You sheriff wankers. I think all those teams that have dropped out the Champions League are going to muller the Europa League teams. That's
right.
I'm talking about in the next round.
I'll tell you what, they're really strong, aren't they? I mean, you couldn't have picked.
There's some bastard teams there. With
the exception of maybe Napoli. Napoli is strong. But I reckon those teams that have come down from the Champions League, most of those are going to go through.
I think Lazio will do all right. Rangers, I'm not being funny, they ain't going no further.
But Rangers do well at home, Nick, notoriously, don't they? So they get a good enough lead at home if they start there. You never know. I
don't think Zagreb or Braga are going to go through either.
No, Zagreb are going to get their pants pulled down, aren't they? Whoever they play against, it doesn't matter who it is. I think them and Rangers, they're nailed on out of the composition. There's just too much quality there. But when you look at it like this, I think UEFA have really got this competition bang on because I love the way this feeds down the Champions League. It's not like seen as a consolation competition anymore. This is a playoff, and this has added quality to the competition. This set of teams you see here, this is a proper high-profile competition, isn't it?
But if you
look, we get a home twice second. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So we get the advantage in the last 16 as well. So winning the group has been brilliant for us.
But if you take those Champions League teams out of the competition, West Ham would probably be favourites, wouldn't we? Maybe second favourites behind Eintracht Frankfurt. But
and the thing is, we've got injury problems at the moment. But by the time this last 16 rumbles around, it's March. Zuma could well be back. Hopefully, we're going to have a few new players from January. So
we've got to make two signings. We've got to make 2 defensive signings and a striker, in my opinion.
We're going to come to that. We're going to come to that.
What?
We definitely need a striker, though, David. We definitely need a striker.
I've been saying that for like 3 years. No, in fact, I've been saying that for 33 years that we need a striker.
Yeah, I know. I think Dean Ashton was the last sort of real top class striker that we had. I think.
Was.
Well, Jonathan Calieri, loads.
What about Zaza? Zaza was decent. He was right.
You rated him as well.
I did on YouTube. His YouTube reel was amazing.
You said to me, "What's his YouTube reel?"
He was great about 10 years before he came to West Ham.
Yeah. Bit late. But I'll be happy. When you look at those names, there's proper names of European football, top names of European football, and we're fucking next to them.
I know.
We're not.
And John, do you know something? We are one of the big teams there. So when other teams are reviewing the groups like what we're reviewing it now, we're one of the big boys now.
Yeah,
we are. 100%.
Can I just ask a question? How the hell did Borussia Dortmund not get through with Erling Haaland in their team? What the hell are they doing in the bloody Europa League?
And Bellingham.
Yeah, and Bellingham.
Haaland. I think they let in a last-minute equaliser or a last-minute goal. I think.
Yeah, to be fair though, David. I mean, Haaland hasn't come up against Craig Dawson yet. So.
Hey, mate, when Dawson signed for West Ham, I thought, what the fuck is that?
So everyone did.
Yeah, and now what do you think? Now
I'll give him props, mate.
Thank you.
The best thing I can say about him was he came on against Chelsea and didn't disgrace himself. Or was it Liverpool? Sorry, I'm getting the games mixed up. What was the game that Ogba got injured in?
That was Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up.
And that's the thing. Because he's an old-fashioned defender, people don't rate him straight away because he's old-fashioned.
I know.
Let him off a bit of stick.
It's like Nick. Nick wants an exotic name, doesn't he?
I know.
I like Dawson. I do. I don't think he's a first-team centre-back.
Well, he is now.
He is now, mate. He's been doing
it now, but I mean, he's not. That's why we bought Zuma, though.
Yeah.
Right. So just to move on, so we're going to move on to news story number 2. Before we do, John and Nick, who do you want in the last 24? There you go. I'm going to put the slide up again.
I'm going to go Rangers or Barcelona.
Last 16. Sorry.
Last 16 for us, it'll be, Who do I want? Okay. Yeah. I don't want any of the massive teams. I don't want Barcelona and Dortmund yet. I'd like to get through another round. Why not? Rangers, because we can beat them and they're beatable, and then we're in the last 8 quarterfinals. Imagine, Do
you not think we're better? Do you not think we're better against better teams? Though I think a fucking shitty team. We're likely to struggle.
Nick, this is. I know we beat Liverpool and I know we beat Chelsea, but this is. Barcelona ain't the best as they've been. We know ain't as good as they've been, and we know that. But Dortmund for us would be tough already. I think.
I don't want Dortmund. But
what makes you think Rangers are going to get through the playoffs?
Well, I don't. I'm just saying. I hope they do, and we bloody.
Yeah.
We're going to end up playing one of those teams on the right. I'm telling you.
I think we will. I think we will. How about you, Nick?
I will go Barcelona or Rangers. I will take either of those. And to be quite honest, you know what? Yeah. I know. I don't really fear anyone apart from. I'm not saying that we could. I think we could beat Dortmund because as good as they are going forward, we'd get at them defensively. We really would.
Yeah.
That they try to outscore teams, don't they? I think that's what they try and do.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have come up against anyone like Antonio, would they?
I mean, Freshfield is saying Porto. I don't know what they're like this year. I've not really been following Champions League, but historically they're a bit of a horrible defensive-minded team. I don't really want to come up against a team like that. Too much like us. You don't really want a team like that. Atalanta is similar. They're a tough team. They've got big physical players.
Why do they always travel from the MLS over to Europe? I don't get it. I'm the only one that spots this. I don't know why no one picks up on it. Sorry, it's a running joke.
I don't know why everyone's afraid of Atalanta, because don't you remember the Betway Cup that we won just before the season started?
Yeah, the cup that we retained. The cup that we retained, yeah? Brilliant.
This is true. It always gets overlooked.
So we are going to move on to news story number 2. So last Saturday, during our brilliant win against the not-so-massive Chelsea, we lost 2 defenders to injury in Zuma and Johnson. Since then, we've learned that Johnson will be missing with a low-grade hamstring injury for 2 to 4 weeks, and Kurt Zuma will be missing for 8 to 12 weeks. What we thought might be another ACL injury following the bad news on Ogbonna. We got a little bit of light relief. It's still bad news, but a little bit of light relief when we found out that Zuma's injury is a hamstring tendon, where the hamstring connects to the knee, and that popped, which is it's a huge relief. He will play again this season. By the way, it's not the knee that he injured previously at Chelsea. Meanwhile, the news on Cresswell is a little bit sketchier. After he slammed into the post a few games ago, hurting his back, he resumed light training, and he is expected to be fit for Burnley, while Ryan Fredericks is still recovering for a groin injury. Who knows when he's ever going to come back? This all follows the injury to Vladimir Schaal, and reports of a knock to Dawson yesterday, albeit not serious, and he should be ready for Burnley. So thank God a few kids made their debuts last night, because we might need them very soon. And we seem to be breaking down at a steady rate with still 7 games to play in December. So that's quite worrying. So look, how many more injuries can we take? Are our fitness team doing all they can? Questions were asked when Ogbonna tried to run off his ACL injury after receiving treatment on the pitch. Then last weekend, there was a fitness bloke trying to help Zuma, try to run his injury off around the edge of the pitch, run off his ligament damage. Did that make the situations worse? And why are we suddenly getting all these injuries? And can we cope with them? So that question goes to you, John.
I think if you would have rewound 2-3 years ago, we would have had no chance of coping with it. If you look at what we've got defensively across the board, we've been strong defensively, and no one's been calling. No one's been saying we need a defender. We need a defender. We got Zuma in, and we've all been pretty happy with what we got. If anything, obviously, as we know, as you just said, Antonio's the issue in terms of he's the only proper striker. And now all of a sudden, our defence, which has been so strong, so resolute, and so well drilled, is taken a massive blow. I'm not worried. I think, as I said, we're in a better position than ever. The main concern I have, I mean, me and Nick spoke about it earlier about Cresswell, is that they don't seem to be giving us a timeline on Cresswell. And that's worrying, because not only do we miss him defensively, we also miss him offensively with his corners, his crossing and his assists. Yeah, so true. It's a little bit worrying for me, is what's happening with Cresswell. Why is no timeline being given? I'm quite confident in Diop. I'm quite confident in Dawson, as David, spoke about a second ago. We've got Schaal there. Will he change the shape? I don't know. I think we can cope now, but as time goes on, obviously in January, you could say in a way our needs have become more desired to go for a defender rather than a striker straight away. I don't know what you feel about that, because Antonio's not scoring, but others are scoring. Bowen and whatnot. Yeah. So we're going to need a striker, of course we are. But obviously now, Moyes definitely needs a defender. As well as the kids played last night, I'm not sure if they will be the answer long term. Also, what you've got to remember is Ogbonna's not going to be back till next year. He'll be 34 and a half. Dawson's 32 already, I think, as well. And we know that obviously pace is an issue, but he's a great bloke to bring off the bench. So I think he'll go out and look for a centre half anyway, if I'm honest with you. Maybe loan, go for a loan with a view to a permanent deal at the end of the season or something. I don't know. Or maybe snap up someone who's on the cheap contract running out. I'm not a massive fan of him, but I've said before that Tarkowski is a sort of David Moyes player. But I've listened to people and thinking about it. I'm not sure Burnley would let him go fighting a relegation battle for £7 million when without him they could get relegated and lose a lot more financially.
Yeah.
So we're gonna cover transfers in the next news item. We're going to talk about that. But so your answer is you don't think we've got enough. You're a bit worried, and you think we have to cover it with transfers.
I think we've got enough now more than any other year. If you go back over the last few years, we've got more cover. I'm pretty happy, but the way our luck's been to have 3 defenders get injured in such a short space of time, it makes you paranoid, doesn't it? Do we need another centre half? If everyone's fit, no. But now it could make Moyes look for someone on loan. I think he'll go out and get someone on loan personally.
Yeah.
What do you think, David?
Well, I agree with all of that, and I am worried because we've only got Diop, Dawson. Did you say Koufal's injured as well?
No, he was injured.
He was injured
a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but he hasn't looked his sharp self since he's been back, I didn't think. And then that just leaves Fredericks, doesn't it? But he's injured as well. So I think we're in trouble. And the defence has been our solid bedrock the whole season.
It has been.
And as soon as Ogbonna got injured, we lost a couple of games.
Yeah.
And then we stopped the rot against Chelsea. So I am worried. I mean, I think our squad isn't the biggest squad in the Premier League. And now, as old Harry would have said, we're down to the bare bones, aren't we, in defence?
Yeah.
I think Antonio has completely gone off the boil. We need a striker. We needed a striker in the summer. Whether that will be Lingard, who knows? But we need someone in there to support Antonio. I think the midfield's all right, but I would definitely go for a versatile fullback and a central defender. That's what I think we need.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think there's one thing we haven't considered, and that is that Declan Rice can move back into centre half if he needs to, because he was originally a centre half. And also, Nick, I think you'd want to back Crowell as being a top class centre half as well, right?
Yeah, no, not really, not at all. I mean, look, I think personally, the way that we've been playing up to this point, and it's a shape and a formation and an ethos that's got us this far and has gotten into the top 4. I don't think it's just defensive frailties due to injury that's been costing us just recently. I think David Moyes likes to play the same players in the same system, the same way, until that system dies, and then he freshens things up and he looks for a new system. Yeah. And I think we're reaching that point. And our current system that we've been relying on is underpinned by a very, very, very solid defence. It really is.
He builds from the back, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's built on that. Now, I think what we proved against Chelsea was that we can play expansively and we can play differently, because if you're a bit weaker defensively, then you kind of it forces you to play and push forward to get the other team.
Can I just ask you a question, Nick? Sorry to interrupt. Didn't you think against Chelsea that by playing 3 at the back, we handed them the initiative?
We invited them on. Yeah, we did. To be fair, though, I think what we tried to do on paper was match them up because they play in a similar way. But the difference is Chelsea play a 3-5. We played a 5. We played a 5-3. We played 5 at the back. So we did, and in the second half, he changed that because it weren't working. We went for it. Because you don't want to invite these players on. You don't want to invite them onto you. Start inviting Reece James to overlap, and you're in trouble. So what you've got to do really, especially if you've got defensive frailties, is you need to stretch the other team and you need to push them back. So what I'm thinking that we might see starting at Burnley is a new way of playing, and I think we might be in for some juicy attacking football. We could well be. You never know.
So you're saying the best form of defence is attack, almost?
Yeah. I think we could be. I think that might be the way that we play. And do you know what? Why not? For a few games, play Kevin Keegan style, outscore the opposition. Let's do it. Let's go for it.
2 at the back.
Eh?
Two at the back.
Yeah, two at the back. Yeah. No. But I'm not saying go that extreme. But what I'm saying is, I think he will make some tweaks. He will make some adjustments. I think he was going to have to address that anyway because we were going stale, and that does happen when you play the same way in the Premier League. You know, you could forecast if we have no injuries. You could have forecasted a month before you play us what team and what shape we're going to put out. You know, so it makes it very easy to prepare against. And like I say, that's fine. And because you know, Moyes drills these players to the point where we're incredibly hard to play against. But then eventually people find a way. And I think that's what's happened with this shape. And Moyes is going to have to tweak it a bit.
I'm just hoping that it comes a little bit good because last time I went to Burnley, I'm going Sunday. Last time I went to Burnley, it was a very, very miserable experience. You know, we got slaughtered. It was raining. We couldn't get out of the car park. It took ages to get home. Oh, and the locals are just horrible. They're really horrible.
Yeah,
not very. Although, they didn't like us very much at all.
Although
they don't like us.
Didn't like us at all.
Last season away at Burnley, Dawson and Diop had a fantastic game.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I'm going to get on to that. You just took away my best comment from the match preview, John. Thanks.
We can edit it out after, and then
it sounded good bit of.
Let's wrap up the news.
One second, Gal. One second. Just go through the comments on that one first. So I think, and you know, I think we need to realise that Europe has taken its toll. We have a small squad, and if we lose 4 or 5 players, we've got to be concerned. That's the beauty.
That is actually a very good point, and I think that's what's happening. Is that just the whole of the season? And Moyes said that himself, didn't he? You know, we're playing too many games. We're playing how many games we got? 8 games over this period. It's ridiculous.
It's mad.
It really is. It really is. You got another one here from DJ Russie B. Also, will not have Noble. And no, I agree, Russ. We will not have Crowell in the summer. So central midfield will be an area.
Why do people keep? We know Noble. Leave Noble. I think we should just give Noble another year.
Yeah,
we might have to, John. No, John, we might if
have to. Don't be silly.
We might have to. Right, so you got Can Lingard play at centre back. Very funny.
He can do everything. He can do it all.
I'll tell you can though, Mike. Martial, he can play at centre back. He loves Martial, doesn't he, Gary?
He loves him. He loves him.
Do you know what he's got the option of? Playing Antonio again at right back.
Oh,
yeah.
And then,
oh my God. They were great days.
It was so good there before, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you say that, Dave, right? Gary Neville recently said that when he was assistant at England, they were contemplating calling Antonio up to the squad for his performances as right back.
Right.
Yeah, and then they thought better of it.
Well, but how did that ever come into their head in the first place?
Well, it's Gary Neville, isn't it?
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
So from what you saw, David, are you not keen? Say, for instance, Cresswell is out on the left hand side, which it's looking likely he's going to be. To be honest, do you think you saw enough from Longello to give him a go? To give him?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. Out of all of those kids, I think he would be the one that I would trust.
Yeah.
And then we got Tufau and then Diop and Dawson. But if we get any more injuries, we're in big trouble.
Yeah.
So
we really are.
I think if you remember back to the Chelsea game last week, I think in unison, the whole crowd saw Arthur Masuaku being the left back, and we all went, "Oh!"
I'd rather Longello played there than Masuaku, but I'm not sure Burnley's a good game to chuck Longello into because they're rough and tumble, aren't they?
Bit of battle, yeah. Bit of battle. They'll bully us. They'll try and bully us anyway.
Yeah,
we'll make a man of him.
He'll make his bones on it, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And I suppose it depends what you put in front of him. I mean, the one thing that we didn't discuss on the match review was the fact that Fornals apparently went off injured. So I've read.
Yeah. Oh, no.
So that means that he would normally be over on that left hand side, and Fornals gives you a little bit more defensive cover. So that's, like I said, I don't know whether that's true. I have read that article. Apparently, he did come off injured. So I don't know how bad it is, or you know.
I think the whole thing about Longello is it's going to be a case of needs must. If Cresswell's not back and he wants to stick to the same shape, he either, I don't think he's prepared to risk Masuaku. Maybe he will. I don't know if I'm saying that. He's got to give Longello a go, isn't he?
He could play in front of Longello,
I think so.
Because he's all right, Masuaku on the.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, left wing is fine. Yeah.
The other one is apparently Elise. Elise is obviously a centre back, but apparently he's obviously the more defensive minded. He's a very accomplished left back as well, and he's a more defensive minded left back.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think Moyes has two options there. Elise is neither captain for the under-23s.
Yeah,
Elise. So yeah, so we've got two good options there, haven't we?
Can I just say, me, Nick, and Gary have been doing this show for about 10 weeks now. Is it? I reckon
something like that. Yeah.
We've never had a complimentary comment like this.
Yeah. Fuck you, Mike. Fuck you, Mike.
Yeah. Oh, cheers, Mike. Yeah. Well,
Dave, don't come on here, Dave, nicking all our viewers, mate.
Yeah. It's only because I'm old, mate. I'm old enough to remember games that this lot don't. Although, how old are you, Gary? If you don't mind me asking.
How old am I? 37. No, I'm 52.
Oh, okay.
55.
Yeah, okay.
Fuck off.
I'm 21.
Yeah.
Gary had the hardest paper round in Mile End.
Yeah. School of Hard Knocks, I tell you, it really was. Right, let's move on to news story number 3. So last night, the magnificent David Moyes became the first manager of a top English club. I haven't checked this, I'm just making it up, by the way. To, out of choice, let an entire back four from his youth team into his first team, with 3 out of 4 of them making their full debuts in a competitive senior European game. Absolutely priceless experience in their growth. There's no less than 7 academy graduates, plus Mark Noble, another one, so 8, spent some time on the pitch. It shows the under-23s that they have a route to the first team, and it allowed us to see just how good these kids are. We already know the atmosphere in the first team is second to none, but just imagine what the spirit's like in the under-23s today. Then we have the record, and this is a record, and I think we should get some kind of cup for this, right? Where West Ham have not lost a game by more than 1 goal in their last 41 games in all competitions.
Amazing.
Yeah.
42 after last night, or Thursday night, 42.
Don't ever get my stats. So 24 games this season and 17 from last. The last defeat by more than 1 goal was at home to Liverpool in January this year. So another outstanding achievement, yet another one from David Moyes. And it's the longest run of its type in Europe's top 5 leagues. So like I said, deserves a cup. When Sports Bible tweeted this a couple of days ago, it was greeted with cynicism by Man U fans in particular, who said, a defeat is still a defeat. But he's only lost 9 out of all of those games. I mean, it's an incredible record. So for a team that got used to being slaughtered every week by, whenever we played a decent team, and sometimes by the crap one, this is a breath of fresh air. And this little series on this show of heaping praise on the manager seems to be coming back every few weeks because we keep on progressing. The one criticism, however, of Moyes is that it was his transfer activity in the summer. We have Vlasic, who's not pulling up any trees. We have Alex Crowell, who has a lovely perm, but he seems to be a very limited footballer. And the magnificent Kurt Zouma, and I mean that, who is now out for 8 to 12 weeks. So the key signings in the last summer, will not play a big part in the second half of the season. But we clearly need some reinforcement. So I want each of you to tell me what a minimum and successful transfer window will look like. And I mean, what I mean is the context of it will allow us to go again in January and attack the second half of the season and be successful. So, Nick, I'll first pass that across to you.
You're on mute.
Yeah, take yourself off mute.
Amateur.
Even though I like it.
First of all, I completely agree that he Zoomer aside, it was a bit of a stinker of a window. I mean, Crowell is not going to make the grade. He's not. It was, look, at the end of the day, that's why you get a loan to buy. He tried him out. He obviously weren't sure about him. He got a loan first. And he's had a look at him, and it ain't going to happen, because I know you like him, Gary, and you say he breaks up play well, but there's no point breaking up play well if you're just going to give the ball back to the fucking opposition with a sloppy pass because he can't pass the ball. Vlasic, I think, like you rightly said the other day, I think he tries. He's busy. He's off the pace. With the comparison with Fornals is accurate. Fornals was slow in his first season, and it took him a while to acclimatise. However, I do stick by the fact that even with Fornals, more so with Benny, even though they weren't great in their first seasons, you did get an occasional glimpse of what they could offer in that attacking third. I've not seen that off of Vlasic. He just runs a lot, and he's doing an impression of a crafty Cockney. He just looks double busy and nothing ever at. He's always running. But that's not. But the fact of the matter is, we've got to make Vlasic work, so we have to persist with him. And somehow, and you know, it could happen. It happened with Fornells. Don't forget, I know it must be a very substandard league, but he got Player of the Year in the Russian league. He did.
Not only that. When he left that league and joined us, there was a tweet from the Russian league that said, "Thank you for being the best ever player in the Russian league."
Can I just say something?
Go on.
Is the Russian league that strong?
Yeah. No. It can't be.
It's like saying John Hartson was a legend in Scotland. I mean,
he got a couple of decent teams.
I know. But what I'm getting at is that there must be something there. He must have some ability. And it's clearly a different standard of league, which means that he's going to have to bulk up. He's going to have to get used to the physical challenges of the Premier League, and hopefully he can bring some of that quality to the team. But moving into the transfer window, for me, we need a centre back, like we just said, and we need Premier League experience. We need players that are ready to go. I don't want in this window, and I've got nothing against cheap foreign imports. But that's when you're in a situation where you've got a deep squad and you can take risks and you can dip around in the transfer market. If Tarkowski is available, people might scream and shout. That bloke's going to come in. He's going to do a job for you at centre back. Yeah, he really is. Exactly. He's going to come in. He's experienced. He's a very. And if you look at his stats, I watched a Stell show the other day where he's. I'm going to have to find out the website that he used, but he did a comparison. 4 players side by side, and that's all the 4 players that we're linked with. And there were some very fancy foreign names in there. Tarkowski smashes them all out of the water. Yeah. In terms of his heading stats, his tackling stats, everything else, he's a good player. So if we can get him, no brainer. And we do need Lingard is a bit of a must. But even if we get Lingard, I've heard people say we're only going to get one attacking player. Now, for me, I'll be disappointed if we only get Lingard. I'll be happy if we get Lingard. That doesn't mean that we don't get a striker. We have to get a striker. We've got to get a striker.
You're right.
Got to get a striker.
I think personally, the thing is now is that we don't have time to bed players in.
No, we don't.
Everybody we get. This is the. I said it last week. This is the biggest transfer window, in my opinion, of our recent history. Right. This is so important for us now. I don't want to sound over dramatic, right? But I'm telling you, it is. And I think he will want players coming in who have Premier League or playing in England. They want to come in and hit the ground running. We haven't got time to bed people in. Lingard is a must, as he was last year for us. He's a definite for me, right? Tarkowski's not my favourite player, but he's played 300 games in England. And after that, the only place I struggle with is a striker, because most strikers we're linked with are overseas, right? And I'm sure Belotti's a fantastic striker. Of course they are. But coming to the Premier League is tough, right? And it's always a risk. Of course it is when you buy someone, especially from overseas, if they're going to come in and actually fit in straight away. But I think he needs to buy ready-made players. I think he needs to bring in ready-made players. We haven't got time to mess about waiting, No. So striker-wise, I'm not sure who we could go for. You could look down to the Championship and take a risk, like I said to you earlier on in the week, Nick, about that guy from Blackburn. Is it? What's his name?
Diaz. I won't try and pronounce his first name.
He's 22. He's raw. He's physical. He's strong. He's a Chilean international already. Played in the Copa America. Why not take a risk? At least he's played in Britain. At least he's played in England.
It might be less of a risk. It might be less of a risk.
That is less of a risk.
Championship, because a lot of the other teams have done it. A lot of the other Premier League teams have done it. So it's just some limited success as well. Especially striker position. I think Leeds. Who else? There's
Origi, Divock Origi. We've been linked with him.
Yeah, I'd like him.
I'm not sure what the way Klopp come out and spoke about him the other day. I don't think he.
Yeah, but he also said he hopes someone comes along and signs him and gives him game time.
Yeah, he did.
I reckon this is my wish list. So Lingard, Origi. I know we're not going to get both. Tarkowski.
Yeah,
and then we need like a versatile fullback who's capable of playing maybe on both sides.
That's a dream transfer window. That is a dream transfer window.
But I think we need it. I mean, we've got, we could be in the final of like the Carabao Cup because we're going to beat Tottenham because they've gone down with COVID, haven't we?
We better beat them. We better beat them.
Well, the only thing that will stop us beating Tottenham is our defensive problems.
Yeah.
But we should beat Tottenham, so then that'll be another semi-final. And then, we got home draw against Leeds in the Cup. We've already beaten Leeds this season. And, who knows with the Europa League. So I think to have any realistic chance, that Czech billionaire's got to put his hand in his pocket. And the guy that Russell just said, the Czech striker, what's his name? Adam
Lozek.
Yeah.
Lozek,
I think we should, they should bring in like 5 players.
Because if they can, Why not forward fund this window? I mean, if you're going to buy players in the summer anyway, forward fund it.
What about the news today that came out about Martial saying he wants to leave Old Trafford? What do you reckon about that one?
I don't know about Martial. He doesn't put himself about enough for my liking.
I agree. The only thing I'd say to you is he's got. I said this to someone earlier.
He's a quality player.
Well, yeah, he is. But this is the thing. Someone said he won't want to go to West Ham. He's got bigger aspirations. And I agree, right? However, if no one comes in for him, he doesn't get the move he wants. Coming on loan to us will be good for him and us.
That's a good deal because it's a shop window signing.
Yeah, so he's putting himself in a shop window and we're getting a striker who really wants it. I'm not his biggest fan. I agree. No. I think, from the outside looking in, he looks a bit lazy.
I'd rather have Origi than Martial because
no, of course I would. 100%.
He's a bit like Lingard. He'll put in a shift. Those are the kind of players we need. Martial's a moody.
He is moody.
Do you think Liverpool will sell to us now we're in the top 4 with them?
Well, that's
a rival.
Origi,
I don't think we're threatening Liverpool, though, are we? Let's face it. I don't think we're threatening them.
Being facetious, potato.
No, but what I mean is, we're looking for that the 4th spot. That's not Liverpool. So Man United, maybe I can see Man United dicking around with us with Lingard.
Oh, so we won't be buying Phil Jones then.
Oh, I'll be gutted. I'll tell you, there is one more thing that I will say. Right, going back to the Chelsea game, and the reason we won that game, and the reason that Antonio had a masterclass second half, and Bowen had probably the best game that we've seen him have, was because we basically played 2 up front in that game.
Yeah,
we played Antonio and Bowen as a front 2. Now, for me, that could work. So, if that's what they're thinking of doing, say for instance you brought Lingard in, then have you got enough then? If you've got Bowen and Antonio, I don't know.
Because Bowen can play up front, can't he? We said we think Moyes will use him as a solitary striker if needed.
And he was brilliant. He was brilliant in that game.
Well, a couple of seasons ago, we had 4 strikers. I mean, we had Chicharito. We had the who's the geezer we bought off Arsenal? Who's gone now?
Perez.
Yeah.
Perez.
Yeah. We had Carroll and I can't remember, but basically we had 4 strikers. Now we've got one who's not even a striker.
Yeah.
So 4 strikers, they all chipped in with goals as well. Whenever Chicharito came on, typically he scored. Perez scored quite a few goals in number of appearances. Origi is he's got the same agent as Ben Rama. The one Sullivan's preferred agent.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Salthouse.
Yeah. Will Salthouse. That's his agent.
Okay. Cool. Should we we've got some questions here, and there's one I'm going to ask first of all if I can find it. Right, 1 minute, because it's for you, David. 1 minute, and it's from Paul. There's been bloody loads. Where is it?
No one's on. I'll find it. I've got it.
The one I made.
Yeah, I know. David, it's a bit off topic, but ask David who his favourite West Ham player of all time is, please. From Paul.
Well, that's a very good question. I've got about 5. I can't say Paolo Di Canio instead of Trevor Brooking. And I can't say Billy Bonds instead of Bobby Moore. So those 4 for a start. And Declan Rice is fast joining that group. So that at the moment, one of the best players I've ever seen play at West Ham was Payet. But he's, the way he left.
Yeah.
He's one of the most talented players we've ever seen, isn't he? In a claret and blue shirt.
But those 5 and then there's Ronnie Boyce from the 60s, isn't there? Ticker Boyce, as they used to call him.
Yeah.
So I've just named my top 6 there.
Your top 6. No. Good answer.
Yeah.
Do we want to go through some of the comments regarding?
You're in there.
So Russ said his wish list for January: Lingard, Coletta, Carr, Hoslek, who you mentioned. Yeah, and then he's been a very good boy this year. Hitting on what we said about being ready for the Premier League. Fresh fielder, any incoming centre back has to be Premier League ready. We've not got time to bed anyone in. Totally agree. When we was talking about Crowell, Robert said Crowell was probably brought in to replace Noble.
Yeah, he ain't good enough in my opinion.
I don't think he's good enough. I agree with you. Where we got here? Sorry, guys. We need to be careful. With Claire agrees. We need to be careful who we bring in. It's not just them being Premier League ready. They must be fit into the team. That's important. Fit into the dressing room, which is why Lingard's so important, because he knows what it's like there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's a very important point.
What are the chances of Lingard coming? Does anyone know?
High.
It's got to be in it. It's got to be in it. I can't see. I mean, everyone says Newcastle, but I can't see him going there.
No, it's all positive. Everything's positive from that. I think it's almost it's sort of set up already.
Really?
Moyes has got a fabulous. Moyes was living in the same place as Lingard, in the same apartment building. They had a very close relationship, and had a very close relationship when Moyes managed Man U. And I think all the mental health and the happiness and everything else, I think that plays a big part in Lingard's life. And when he was at West Ham, he had a really, really happy time. And I think since he's gone back to Man U, he just hasn't. It's just reverted to type, So I think if he doesn't, if Lingard doesn't move back to West Ham, he's going to look back probably at the end of his career. Say he went to Newcastle and struggled with them for a couple of years and then ends up, playing for Hull or someone like that, right? He'll look back at West Ham as probably the high point of his career. Now, it'd just be a mistake for him to not want to come back.
There's one good reason why he probably will come to West Ham, and that's the World Cup.
Very true. Very true.
Because the international setup means the world to him. It really does.
Yeah.
And I think if he can hit anywhere near the form he did for us last season, he'll be straight back in there. He will, because he was awesome.
Importantly, so Russ has said a striker whatever striker we bring in will play second fiddle to Antonio.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I see what he means. It depends on Moyes, doesn't it, with that one? But
that's wrong. If that's what we're doing, if we should be going out. Antonio isn't the best striker in the world. I know he's good for us, but he isn't the best striker in the world. We should be going out. If we're going to buy a striker and you're going to spend money on one, go out and buy one. Not just going to replace him, but at least compete with him.
The thing is, we've got so many games coming up, assuming we stay in the cup.
Rotate them.
Yeah, we'll need another striker to keep Antonio fit, won't we?
But I think if Antonio does more than score, I mean, he does a hell of a lot more than score. When he's on his game, he what was that?
Sorry, Nick just put his under 14 hat on, coach hat on. He went, "We've got to rotate."
Look, I've got my level 1 coaching badge, John. All right, I know what I'm talking about.
No, he does. Nick, do this. What's that mean?
He don't know.
I'm not actually. I don't know.
But when Antonio's playing well, he's
smelling your fingers there, Gal.
He's brilliant. But when he's not playing well, he's a little bit of a waste of space. And I think if you look at him recently, he hasn't played well for several games. His goal scoring record has been poor. That to me does not constitute a player who deserves to stay in the first team if there is another option available. Right?
I agree. And also he looks knackered.
It does look knackered.
Jamaica's got to have taken the toll on him, isn't it?
And the pitches he's played on over there. Have you seen some of the pitches? My God.
Yeah. So Claire says money does talk, but would you pick money over Premier League games, especially if you're playing for your country or if you want to?
Yeah.
I think she's talking about Lingard. I don't think Lingard will choose money. I think he'll choose West Ham.
I think he'll choose playing for England, won't he?
Yeah,
Epic cash time. Why should the striker play a second fiddle? Moyes has said he only wants players who will make the team stronger, not backup players. I agree.
This is interesting from Russ. This is a good point, actually.
We'll probably get Origi in the summer. Klopp won't let him go with the AFCON and Mane. So, 100%.
Yeah. Well, that's 100%. If the AFCON goes ahead, No one knows.
And this, I've never agreed with Michael more than what I do right now.
I don't know what that's about. I don't know.
Who's John? He's not Virgil.
Yeah, number one, he used my real name, right?
I think he was because we started talking about honestly, but basically, Mike Brennan came on this show, David, a few weeks ago now, and This is Mike Brennan. This chap, he came on our show a few weeks back. He was really good, but he was drinking 10.
He's quoting there. No.
Yeah.
Beast, isn't it?
Yeah. He was drinking 10% ale, and honestly, he really did. It was brilliant, wasn't it? And by the time we got to the player transfer bit, I suggested that we would sign Martial. He didn't react well. He didn't react well.
He shouted a lot, didn't he?
I'm not a big Martial fan. What has he done recently for United?
Not a lot.
Doesn't play. He doesn't play. He doesn't even get on the pitch, does he? No,
he doesn't play because he's a lazy git.
No, exactly.
Well, Martial and Haller in a mood off. Who would win?
Definitely Martial.
Yeah,
definitely Martial. Yeah.
I rated Haller, and I'm still pissed off that we didn't keep him. I think he could have done the job for us.
Do you have to open that book, David? I mean, you know, Nick has just. We've been trying to get him to turn the page for several months, and every time Allaire scores a goal in Europe, he comes back to it. Oh, do you see what Allaire did last night? Fucking Allaire. Yeah. No.
Right. So we've got quite a few here. So what we got?
Yeah.
When you're getting me on as a guest, Ozzy, Thomas Murphy.
You can't have him on. His head's bigger than mine.
Look, you got one here. Look, Nat Phillips. Everyone stop talking about him now. 5th choice at centre back. Do you remember he made his debut against us and played really well?
He played in Europe the other day and played really well.
And who's on loan? Who's the centre back from Liverpool who's on loan at Preston that Moyes was going for? I've forgotten his name now. Someone out there will know his name.
I can't think. I've seen it linked. I don't
know. Basically, David, I don't know if you know DJ Russie B, Russ Budden. He does a series called My Hammers 11, and he's just trying to poach you from our channel to go and do that. Now, if that happens, Russ, I want compensation. I want some sort of.
I want
something. All right.
Yeah. If there's a transfer fee involved in a brown paper bag, I'm coming, mate.
Dave,
whatever happened to the bungs? I miss the bungs.
Yeah,
whatever happened to those days? When Harry met Fergie on the petrol station.
Mate, you all want a cashless society. That's what happens. No bungs.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a cashless society soon, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Oh, Nat Phillips is injured. Apparently, Epic Hash Time says.
Oh, okay.
He's got a broken.
You've got to do that every time you say his name, Nick. Otherwise, it don't look cool.
The geezer broke a cheek bone.
Right.
When was that? Was that the other night? In the game the other night? Must have been.
I must have missed it. Yeah, I must have missed it.
What's this? Mike saying, can we start sending emails saying we will loan a player from PSG? That's what we did when we were trying to force
Sullivan, wasn't it?
That was Sullivan, wasn't it?
It's Sullivan. Give
me a player, or I'm going to go to this bloke from PSG.
I wouldn't mind a couple from PSG. Messi, Mbappe, they'll do.
Yeah.
No.
Not too bad.
Overrated. Overrated.
It's good, right, everyone? I must admit, I'm struggling to go through all these comments. This is amazing.
You only got to press a button, Nick. It ain't tough. I don't know what you like. You know,
I know.
Go back to Peter Scrass or Scrasse or Scracy or what is it? He said he is the Jesse deal is done. Yes.
Well,
that's done deal.
I'm going to put Jesse on the back of my shirt.
Right, this is Ahmet going back to that question to you, David, earlier on.
Yeah.
He's would be Devonshire, Bonds, and Brookin, top three for.
Yeah. Oh, I miss Jeff Hurst as well.
Yeah. We've had a few good players over the years, haven't we?
Yeah, Devonshire was amazing as well.
He was.
Used to watch him a lot. Yeah, great player.
My top one is still Brookin. I love Brookin.
Yeah, it's got to be, isn't he? Yeah, he single-handedly kept us up in the 70s, didn't he?
Yeah. What's this one? Epic Hash Time. Sorry.
Oh, can I just interject? So the name of the player is Ben Davies. So he's a Liverpool defender who was on loan at Preston.
So, right, that's right.
Okay. That's who Russ said.
There we go. Russ said it. Yeah.
Davies. Yeah.
And Schaal.
Yeah.
And Mike.
And Michael.
So George Paris. He's been retired for years, Mike. George Paris.
George Paris ain't available anymore.
Yeah.
I did a little stint at this further education college in Berkshire, and one of the caretakers there was Jeff Pike. Can you believe?
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we played five-a-side a couple of times. He was unbelievable. Wow. And when you consider he wasn't West Ham's greatest ever player skill-wise, but I can tell you five-a-side he was pretty good.
when
he
you
wasn't,
when you,
but he was the water carrier, right?
Yeah, the water carrier, exactly.
Yeah.
Like Deschamps, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's move. Let's move on to the weekend's game. As we all know, we're off to Turf Moor on Sunday. We face Burnley. We had a good result there last year. If you look at the this slide, it does show you that we beat them 2-1, and also, as John ruined for me earlier on, Diop and Dawson did feature as centre backs in that game. Funnily enough, last year. However, we did have Lingard back then. There's not really any surprises about this. I mean, I've got sort of a clip. If you have a look at the way that Burnley set up, obviously they're in white at the top. It's 4-4-2, 4-4-2. And that's over the last 3 years. We know how Sean Dyche plays, and it's the same this year. They play, they play the same way. We know how they play. They've had a bit of an upturn in form. I say that, I mean they've drawn 2 and they've lost 1 against Newcastle, but we know they're still dangerous, and we know probably more or less everything about their team, apart from their one new addition, this chap, Maxwell Cornet, who they've brought in, who I thought was a fullback, but they've been playing him as a centre forward. They've been playing him as a forward, and he's got a really good goal return. And he's scored some pretty bloody good goals as well. So
he's wafer thin, isn't he?
Cornet. Yeah, Cornet.
Wafer thin.
Sorry.
But yeah, he's the only player. He's the only player that we don't know anything about, that we haven't really, the rest of the Burnley players. I mean, it's all pretty much of a muchness, isn't it? Brownhill, Cork, McNeil.
I told you he's wafer thin.
Cornet's injured. There you go. I'm going to pin that guy then. So if he's definitely out, that's brilliant, because
just
still got, what's his name?
Chris
Wood. Barnes is gone now, isn't he?
Yeah, but they've got Chris Wood, who always scores against West Ham.
Yeah.
There you go.
I know.
Yeah, and Chris Wood's quite possibly the worst player. I think he looks so slow and cumbersome. I reckon I could mark him at the game. I tell you what, my God, when he scores, I'm like, my God, has he scored again?
Because he's good in the air. He's good.
I know, but
can you remember anything about the game last year? The 2-1. I mean, obviously Antonio got a brace.
Chris Wood
in
scored,
that game.
didn't he?
Yeah, Wood scored.
Always scores.
Yeah, I think personally, from my memory, we played well in that game. We deserved the win, but you know what? It's never an easy game against Burnley, though, is it? You're not ever going to get an easy. It's never going to be easy.
But I'm going to make a prediction and say that we're going to turn them over.
You reckon?
Because they're not playing very well.
No.
And I just think we got too much going forward for them. Bowen's been on form. Ben Rama's getting better. Well, if Fornals is injured, then we've still got Declan, haven't we?
Yeah.
So, I think we're going to have too much for him personally.
I think the thing with Burnley is Dyche has got his way of them playing, obviously, as we know, and every year they just about survive, or they survive. It can't go on forever, and I think this is the year that they're going to succumb to relegation. You know what I mean? I think they're just
Do you think it's going to happen this year?
Well, I really do, and I'm not. I know that there's Burnley fans. Well, we ain't got many West Ham fans watching, so I doubt we've got any Burnley watching. But what I'm trying to say is, to them, they're probably over the moon that they survive every season. But you can't go on forever, can it? You either push on or don't, and they just remain above the relegation zone season after season after season. And this year, I just don't think I can't see them surviving. I just really can't.
Well, funnily enough, I thought that Cornet geezer was the one who was going to get him out of trouble. But if he's injured, then he's not.
Nick, rewind. We need to do mock the week.
Yes, we do. Yes. Right. Okay.
Let's do the.
Can you message me before that? Right, 1 minute. I'll pull this back out.
Before we move into that, I just got one thing to say, right? And this is an inbetweeners reference from Mike Brennan.
Yeah, go on.
Can we all go to Caravan Club?
You can't afford it, mate. Camber Sands is expensive.
I'll tell you what, Dave, that scene where you took a dump in that caravan.
It was amazing. Right? Amazing. That's the one that I shared on the Facebook group. It was brilliant.
That reminded us, me and Nick. Dad done exactly that in the caravan.
My old man used to stink the fucking caravan out. That's what.
Yeah. That's what he did. Another thing my dad did, right? Because we didn't have much money. We had a touring caravan, and he went to a boot sale and he bought a second-hand chemical toilet. And then he got it back, and it had someone's old turd in it.
That's really buying a second-hand toilet. That's as cheapskate as it gets, isn't it? Let's be honest. Second-hand toilet. Come on.
Yeah.
Right. So look, I apologise. We'll jump about a bit. We've just done. We've spoken about the Burnley preview. What we'll do is we'll go into the lineup selector after we've done mock the week. So sorry about that, John. So I'll let you.
Mate. It's not going to be long anyway. Welcome to mock the week, where I try and be as funny as David, which is tough, as I know, because he stole the show tonight. Okay, so as we know, last week we beat Chelsea, and as Monday night's episode of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire reiterated, we may hate the song now, but West Ham are still fucking massive.
Yes.
Unfortunately, most Chelsea fans, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. You know, he looks like the geezer out of that song, doesn't he, from the 70s? It's Christmas, you know?
From Slade.
That's it.
Yeah.
We are so big. We are so big at the minute. We're being linked with players like Hazard, legendary players coming back from retirement. But Thomas Tuchel, he wasn't happy with last week's performance. In fact, as you can see there, he got arrested. He got arrested the next morning for shoplifting in WH Smith's in Stratford. But he criticised Romelu Lukaku's performance after his recent injury. He said that Lukaku, when he came on, didn't look fit. I'm not sure where he got that idea from. To me, Lukaku looks in massive shape, but he is putting him through extra training at Cobham in Surrey. As we know on Sky Sports, certain commentators have their own little debates from time and time again. As we saw last week, Carragher and Keane were having a big old Barney in the Sky Sports studio. Keane has decided to shut his mouth and instead has taken over the Sky Sports graphics department. Jamie Carragher 1-0 league title with Liverpool.
That's brilliant. That is
Did
brilliant.
that actually happen? Did that actually happen?
I don't know. I pulled it off someone else, if I'm honest.
What does it say? I ain't got. Hang on, let me put me.
He won 0 league titles with Liverpool.
Brilliant.
Now, this man, Cristiano Ronaldo, as we know, greatest of all time, or one of, if not the. His legendary celebration when he stomps both feet on the ground together and shouts out "Zoo" or something like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But what's starting to piss me off is fully grown men at Old Trafford all joining in unison with him. All right. Now, I'm not being funny. The only way they may stop is if they realise what they actually fucking look like.
They do and all. Have you seen the videos of them doing it after the game? It's so cringy, mate.
It's pathetic. It's pathetic. We've had a bit of a debacle in the Europa League Conference South this week, with Tottenham reporting that they couldn't play their National League South game against someone. Conte was very angry and was adamant that they didn't have enough fit players. Now, the rules state you have to have 13 players available. Just last week, Benfica played a game where the other team in Portugal had to put 2 outfield goalkeepers on pitch. It was 7-1 at half time, I think, or 7-0. But Tottenham managed to get away with it. Now, they were told you have to have 13 players. They decided to count up the squad. They sent Harry Kane in to have a little look who was available. He came out after he got to 6 and gave up counting. Tottenham have now decided, or they did then decide, to bring in a new mathematical coach known as Carol Vorderman. She duly obliged by looking at the squad, calling them in and counting them up. And
She's got baby knees. She's got baby knees. Go back to that squad, John.
Even I know there's more than 13 players there in that squad. They should have played that game.
John, go back to Vorderman. Look, she got baby knees.
What do you mean, baby knees? Oh, yeah, she has got baby knees. Oh, dear. Rafa Benitez is turning the tide at Everton after the great win last Monday at home to Arsenal. Oh, Rene. Now, he is bearing an uncanny resemblance to Rene from Hello Hello, alongside Ralph, the new Man United manager. Now, if you look at them, they have previously met at previous league managers' meetings. As you can see, Benitez is there, and there's Ralph Rangnick. Moving on to showbiz, Toy Story, one of the greatest kids' feature films of all time. Adults used to watch it as well. Well, what happened to Woody? What happened to Buzz, I hear you ask? Well, Buzz Lightyear has been found playing for the Iranian female women's team in goal. Moving on well,
Yeah.
Tottenham, there's the Tottenham presentation for winning Cox of the Year award at Tottenham after their debacle. And after West Ham flying through the group in the Europa League and Barcelona dropping down, he don't want to face up against Antonio and Bowen, does he? He looks like he's shitting himself. Moving on to better news. Now, we all know, well, most of us will know Nigel Khan, who, on a serious note, has been fighting COVID. Spoke to him the other day. He's getting a lot better. And I can confirm that I saw him walking down South Ockenden High Street just earlier today, fresh out of a salon, looking a million times better.
Looking much better, Nigel.
Now, if you don't know what Nigel looked like, he looks like him, just with short hair.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's me done for Mock the Week. Nick, take it
Well
away.
done,
John. Next
Brilliant. Well
section,
done, John.
Very good, mate.
Very well done. Okay. Right.
Nope.
Come on, Nick, sort the graphics out.
It's not me. It's not me. It's John.
Oh.
He's ballsing it about. Right, where are we? Okay, lineup selector for the Burnley game. So we mentioned that we may... It's going to be difficult, isn't it? I think that we should probably base this on the standard formation because we don't know. He won't be playing a back three in this game. No way. He'll be playing a back four. It's whether or not, he goes for a 4-4-2 and tries to build on what he did at the Chelsea game and tries to match Burnley up. Why wouldn't you, to be honest? Our two centre-backs are every bit as good as their... two central midfielders are every bit as good as theirs. Why wouldn't you match them up, And Bowen and Antonio look so good when you play them together. So should we base it around a 4-4-2, or do you want to base it?
It's normally 4-2-3-1, isn't it?
That's a normal one. Yeah, that's
what it is. And I think this 4-4-2 is in Nick's imagination. So I think we should go to the 4-2-3-1 like David Moyes plays.
Yeah, we can. But they were playing as almost a front two in that game
for 10 minutes.
No, they weren't. I mean, the reason we got the goal in the first start, the reason we got the goal, that Lanzini's penalty was Bowen pressing the keeper high from a central position. Yeah, it was.
No, if you saw it.
Let's stick to the 4-2-3-1.
All right.
That's
so look, there's no discussion about the keeper, is there? It's going to be Fabianski.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay, right back is going to be Schaal, obviously, in this one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Straight in. Centre back, we know. Well, Diop's definitely going in. It's whether or not Dawson is fit, but we'll put him in there and we'll cross everything and hope that he is. I haven't got an icon for Longelo, so or whoever. So Masuaku is going to have to impersonate whoever we put a left back.
I don't know. I think Cresswell's coming back this weekend. I reckon.
Well, I hope you're right.
I don't think so.
Let's have a vote on it. It's a democratic vote. Cresswell.
I vote that I want Cresswell in, but is that the same as he's coming in?
Yeah, exactly. Look, my argument is with that injury that he had, where he wrapped his back around the post, that was either going to be an impact injury, which he would have recovered from in no time, or he was going to have had a problem. He's got a problem.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So, what do we think Moyes is? Who do we think Moyes is going to put in? Because this is what it's about. It's a predictor.
Yeah. Who would you think Moyes is going to be?
It's probably going to be Arthur, isn't it? I think it'll be Arthur.
It'll be Arthur. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll have to be, won't it?
Yeah. Central midfield picks it. Obviously Rice and Suchek in the middle, isn't it? Yeah. It's got to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think anything's going to change up front. It'll be the rest of the team will be as per, won't it? Because
well, is Fornals injured?
Well, I don't know when Nick's the only one.
I read it. He went off injured. Yeah. I read that's why the change was made.
No, I'm not doubting it. I just haven't seen it at all.
I mean, I didn't see the game, did I? So I don't know.
I think that could have been a face-saving move from Moyes to say he took a knock.
It could have been that he wanted. He could have been that he wanted to give Ben Rama and Fornals 45 each just to keep them fresh a little bit. Maybe it could have been that.
It
could have been planned from the offset. That's what I mean.
Well, it's gonna be Ben Rama, Fornals, and Bowen, isn't it?
Well,
Not Ben Rama, I hope, David. I hope not Ben Rama. I'm not.
Nick's got a problem with Ben Rama because he calls him Speckled Jim. You know, the pigeon out of Blackadder.
That's the best thing he's done, delivering that note to Rice. That's the best thing he's done all season.
So who would you rather see instead of Ben Rama?
Well, it's not. It's Lanzini. Lanzini all day long. Lanzini all day long. The left-hand side, it will be Ben Rama if Fornals is injured. So it'll be either Ben Rama or Fornals. To be honest, you know what? I like Ben Rama when Fornals is in the team because I think that he needs players a little bit like him to kind of get him going. I think that's. He hasn't quite. I think
they play really well together. Those two.
Yeah, they do. But it will be Fornals if he's fit because he'll give Arthur a little bit of defensive cover because you know Arthur's a bit fucking mental, isn't he? So
hang on, can I just rephrase that? Shit, I think is the word.
No, I know. And that's the thing. But the fact of the matter is, if he wasn't completely shit, we wouldn't have beat Chelsea the other day because no one else could have scored that goal that he scored.
That's a good point. Yeah,
including him, if he was actually trying to score that goal.
I know. Right. So there's not much to talk about then. So
are we just saying in my life? Sorry.
So are we happy with that lineup? Do we think that's kind of what we're looking at?
I can't see you ain't got much other option, have you?
No, and you got Ben Rama as well as an option, or Fornals. I think that's enough. I mean, the worry is when you look at this team now, like it goes back to what Claire said earlier on. If we start getting more injuries, I mean, if you lose Diop or you lose Dawson or you lose, I mean, heaven forbid Rice.
He's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah, I know, but it is.
But you know what?
We're down to the bare bones now.
We are down to the bare bones, and we're playing so many games. I think we are going to get more injuries, and that's the worry. That's what will derail our season.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay, right. Well, that's fine. What I'll do, I'll knock the screen selector off, and then what we'll do our predictions for the.
Let's go through the comments first.
Yeah, do your match predictions first, and then we'll go through the comments. Go on.
Oh, okay.
Gary, what do you reckon the result's going to be?
2-1 West Ham.
2-1 West Ham. John?
1-0 West Ham.
Go on, David.
I'm going to go for a high-scoring game, and I'm going to go 3-2 West Ham.
Good man. I'm going to go 3-1.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 3-1 West Ham. Okay, go on, Gary. Do you want to go through the comments, and I'll get the Premier League predictor ready?
Yeah, we just have to find out where we are on the comments. So
we've got millions of them.
We got a few. So with Claire. He reckons the injury is more important than being told about, so that's Cresswell. That's the context on that.
But why would they not? I mean, Nick sort of alluded to this. Why would they not tell us?
I think that's because he likes to keep his cards close to his chest and he doesn't want to reveal anything to the opposition manager. I think that's all it is.
Yeah, but he's been doing that. He's been doing that for 4 weeks.
I know.
Yeah, but why would you? So then you could do that about Ben Johnson and say, "Oh, he might be in, he might not." I mean, I don't really understand.
I think Cresswell is a really important player, though, John. So the way we play.
How long is Johnson out for?
4 to 6 weeks.
2 to 4 weeks. 2 to 4 weeks.
Sorry.
That's annoying. He was playing really well, Johnson.
Yeah, he was. He's got not much going forward, though. Sadly.
No.
Apart from after Nick said he ain't got much going forward, and the following day he scored that great goal from the edge of the box.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Right, so what we got here? Fornals has got a newborn baby, so it might be a bit of parental.
Gary, you've turned into a Dalek, or is it me?
It's you.
It's you. So Fornals has a new baby. I
don't know what's happened.
He hasn't got staff to look after that baby, so a bit of parental tiredness probably.
Yeah, that's
is that me, or is that?
It's you.
You're going a bit in and out.
It's you, Nick. You're in and out, son.
Yeah, it's you. The Benny Fornals axis is great. I don't know. I think the Lanzini either Fornals or Benny axis is great. One of the two.
I think having Lanzini there not only gives you the craft and the guile, but the maturity to just sometimes pop it off. Sometimes you don't have to always do the exaggerated maneuvers and things. Just sometimes just play it. You know what I mean?
The only thing is Lanzini the right player against Burnley? Because Burnley are sort of big and muscly, isn't they?
Well, maybe I think he gets stuck in more than
he does.
Yeah,
More than Ben Rama.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah,
Now, this cryptic clue from Mike Brennan here, light training, probably means talking about Cresswell. Is in light training. Claire again. Everyone else's injuries seem to be spoken about apart from Cresswell. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Is a set piece specialist and integral to how we play. So managers will adjust accordingly, or accordingly. He goes forward too often in my book.
Okay, let's go and smash the gunner.
So I'm out. We're going down to Portsmouth, Mike. We're going to smash your place up.
It's a catastrophe.
Holy shit. Next gone, Dave Hurst. I don't know what that means. My fear is Antonio getting injured too many games. And finally, Lanzini is outstanding. He can unlock opposition.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, he
100%.
can. Yes.
Right, fair enough. I've been outvoted on that one.
Yeah.
No, I do like Lanzini.
Yeah.
I think Lanzini's changed his game a little bit. I think he's become more physical. He's become more. He puts the boot in a lot more than we expect. I think.
It's true. Actually, he does put himself around a lot more now.
Yeah.
Love the way he sort of stuck it to James after that penalty, didn't you? The way he sort of went over and got in his face.
Loved it.
Yeah. What was that about? Why was he giving?
James was screaming at him as he was running up for the penalty. Like a bit of gamesmanship going on. And
I never knew that. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Yeah, I like the way he stuck it to him.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's like, what's his name? Mason Mount, who was giving it large after he scored a goal and he was showing off. And I was thinking, what's he doing that for? Well, apparently we were singing to him, "You're just a shit Declan Rice."
I love that shot of Declan Rice's face when Mount scored.
Yeah.
He looked indignant, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
You're just a shit Declan Rice. I must say, because I'm in the Bobby Moore upper tier, and so I saw that goal right in front of us, and I thought at first that Fabianski could have got to it, but having seen it on TV afterwards, it was actually quite a good goal, wasn't it?
It was right in the corner, wasn't it? He couldn't have put it in a better place if he tried, could he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think keepers don't get beat at their near post, so David. I will say.
Well, yeah, that's what I was basing it on. But having watched it later, I did think it was a good goal.
No, that's it. Okay, well, let's get into the Premier League predictor. So,
David might need his glasses on for this. It's so small.
Yeah,
what we can do, David, I can call them out to you. So,
yeah,
Manchester City versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. I'll give you this one. What do you reckon the score is going to be?
Okay, I will say 3-1 City.
3. Oh, hang on. The cable's just died. 3-1.
Maybe even 4-1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Actually, let me go 4-1. I'll go.
You're going to go 4-1. Okay. 4-1. Okay. John, Arsenal versus Southampton.
2-0 Arsenal. Southampton are poor.
They are. Gary, Chelsea versus Leeds.
3-0.
3-0?
Yeah.
This is a tough one. The next one for Dave. The old
There
Gerrard.
you go, Dave.
The old Gerrard
Liverpool versus Villa. That is a bastard game to predict that one.
Tough game.
I think Liverpool are going to spank them.
You reckon?
think? Yeah, I don't know.
So I'm going to go 4-1 on that one as well.
Are you suggesting that Steven Gerrard's Christmas decorations come down early this year?
I think they're going to love sticking it.
I think this is going to be the one.
Yeah.
This is going to be the one where his honeymoon period ends. I agree.
I think
Just for the record, I can see a draw there, 1-1 or something, because he's got them playing well, mate. I'm telling you. Yeah. I know it's Liverpool, different kettle of fish and all that, but
I think.
Go on. Sorry.
I think if Liverpool turn it on, I don't think Villa will live with them.
No.
I agree.
Right, I'll do this one. 1 for Man United. Norwich are a fucking point this time. I keep saying it.
Nick, as per last week, is the tab button working?
Yeah.
I've got it working now, mate. Got it working. Right. So, John, you know the fucking rules. Brighton and Hove Albion versus Spurs.
Right, get it right, John.
4-0 Brighton. 4-0 Brighton.
4-0.
Actually,
Good word,
hang on a minute. Has their team all of a sudden they've got enough players now? Then is that going?
Yeah, exactly. And what?
It's been postponed for the weekend. It's already been postponed.
Oh, is it? All right.
Yeah.
It'll still be whenever they play it, it'll still be 4-0. Don't worry.
It'll be 4-0. Yeah, they're shit.
Yeah, whenever they play it.
What about the Carabao Cup for Tottenham? Are they going to be fit for that?
Yeah, because it's only 10 days thing, isn't it? So yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, they better be. Hopefully they'll be fucking reading and do you know what I mean? Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, we got Lasagna Gate all over. Really not because of COVID. Fuck off.
And wheezing all over the place.
Yeah. Right, David, as you're the guest, I'm going to let you do Burnley West Ham. Go on. You said 3.
I think it's going to be 3-2. I think there's goals in that game.
Good.
So it'll probably be 0-0.
There's going to be goals in it, mate. I agree with you. Gary, Leicester versus Newcastle.
I think it's a tough one, isn't it? Because Newcastle are on a mini roll and Leicester are not. So, but I'm going to think Leicester are going to come back in this one. 2-1.
2-1. I really want Newcastle to get relegated.
So do I.
Yeah, I really do.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
You better listen. The only thing I'd say about all this: be careful what you say about Newcastle. Now they've got their owners, right?
This is true.
Your head on a stick will be worth a fortune. Let's be honest.
Mine.
No, Nick's.
Mine. To feed a small country with my head. Right, John. The Nigels versus the shit Scousers.
I hate Palace.
The Nigels.
I think Everton beat Arsenal. I'm going to say 2-1 Everton. I think you'll turn it around now. I think they'll start winning a few games.
Yeah.
Palace ain't great.
Nah.
They're not really. I mean, look, they're on a league. I mean, everyone's sort of raving about what's his name, Vieira.
Have you seen some of the chances Benteke misses?
Yeah, but
open goals he misses.
I think Conor Gallagher's made a difference to him.
Oh, he's been brilliant.
Oh, he's amazing. I would take him in a heartbeat.
I mean, against us, they played really well, didn't they?
Yeah.
He was phenomenal. He scored 2 against us, didn't he?
Yeah.
But you know, he's been integral in all their good performance. Gallagher's been the standout player.
Yeah,
he really has. So look, basically, we don't move up anywhere in the league. We stay 4th. I'll take that. That's fine. Yeah. That's all right. You know,
look at Russ protecting Spurs. Oh, Russ.
Oh my God!
Russ, you've changed, mate. You've changed.
Russ, you know the rules. No defending Spurs.
Carry on, Russ. And West Ham, I need a new DJ.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
Right. Okay.
Oh, hang on a minute. I'm not happy with Claire. Claire's made some great comments all night. Now she's just absolutely annihilated us.
What she said?
I take it we don't take the predictions to the bookies.
No, I don't win very often, Claire.
Claire, can I just say, I know I've predicted 15 goals, but we are talking about City at home and Liverpool at home, aren't we? They're both at home.
Yeah.
Nigel's, Russ is trying to row back. Look.
He's moonwalking all over his kitchen.
David, we don't get COVID because he gives them iron brew to fight it off. So we were all right.
Yeah. Pie and mash and iron brew.
Indeed.
All you need.
David is the new West Ham DJ.
Yay, I'll do it. What's the money like?
Ask Russ. Russ, what's the money like, Russ?
I'd play Angelic Upstarts this weekend for definite. Yeah. I have to. We were talking before the game, and Menzies from Angelic Upstarts has sadly passed away of COVID.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that was the first single I ever bought, "Murder of Little Towers." So it's really sad. They're a great band.
R.I.P. Menzies.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not happy with this. Look, this is Claire. Claire normally likes me. Now apparently you're her favourite.
Yeah. You got
fickle, Claire.
Where has Claire ever said you're her favourite, Nick?
She DM'd me and she told me personally. No, she didn't. I just
She's
assumed
it.
Nick.
Any of the other predictions.
No. She's no. You've been a great guest, David. You really have.
Thank you. It's been fun, mate. Thank you for asking me to do it. It's been really good.
It's been brilliant. It's been brilliant. Gary, do you want to
Yeah, no, I'll take us out. So again, David, legend, thank you for joining us.
Cheers.
It's been
Thank
brilliant. Again, thanks to Nick and thanks to John. If you've not done it yet, it's the one and only time in the show we ever mention it. Please subscribe
I'm
to
in
our
the
YouTube
top
channel.
5.
There's only
There's
fucking
only
four
of
of
us.
That's brilliant. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the like button. If you like what we do, share it with your friends, your enemies, any randoms you come across in the street. Don't forget to leave us a comment or two. We'll read all the good ones and ignore the bad ones. We'll be back on Sunday night for the Sunday night hangover. That's it. That's it for the Friday night booze up. Thanks for your time. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Until then, come on your irons.
Come on your irons. Thank you very much, David. Honestly, been brilliant.
It's been great. Thank you.